Online culture is growing fast as the internet becomes more decentralized and democratized with Web3. How will that affect pop culture? Here's where you can find out. It's time to meet Roman Rappak, co-founder at Ristband. He will be sharing his vision of bringing physical events into the virtual space and having virtual events build an in-real-life connection.
You can now glimpse the future with nothing more than a modem, a phone line, and a few dollars a month.
And what about this internet thing? Do you know anything about that?
In 1995, the internet was about to transform every aspect of our lives. Politics, business, education, art, and entertainment would be changed in ways that sounded, at the time, like science fiction.
Every business, no matter how large, and no matter how small, will be on the internet in the year 2000.
I'm afraid that if I subscribe to something like internet,
you would really be hooked.
It's all hype. I've been on the internet. There's 12 people out there.
The way people in the 90s spoke about the internet, their predictions, optimism, and fears.
Our mother is addicted to chat rooms, and it is causing the breakup of our family.
It will replace the yellow pages as we know it today.
Will feel familiar to anyone who is watching the way the metaverse has been evolving for the last few years, and perhaps reveal some clues about what will happen next.
I think we're actually on the cusp of something exhilarating and terrifying.
It's just a tool, though, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Like the early internet, the metaverse in its current state is hard to pin down. You could argue that it's actually more a collection of technologies rather than a place you visit. In the same way the internet was made possible through processing power, internet protocols, business models, and later on mobile phones, the building blocks of what comes next are a combination of AR, VR, blockchain, AI, and machine learning, as well as a shift in popular culture and the increasing virtualization of the world around us.
Is there something now beyond what we understand about computers that like 20 years ago we didn't fully understand computers? Is there now another level of something maybe we haven't even thought of it?
So how will it change our lives? The way we interact with each other, the way we learn, create, shop, or fall in love? In order to answer some of these questions, we started Ristband, a metaverse platform built on the Unreal Engine for creators, consumers, and gamers to build, experiment, and learn. A huge, interactive city where you can attend events, play games, create experiences, and socialize. This video is about what we've learned from launching Ristband. It's about the opportunities the metaverse presents. It's about the problems we see in the current iterations of what's out there and how we're approaching solutions. It's about our vision for what the metaverse could become and some advice on how to approach it. Even before launching Ristband in September of 2021, we built out our platform, holding events, putting on new types of interactive concerts, screen films, we created games, quests, and open virtual stores. We did this to learn as much as we could about the way the metaverse is evolving, how gaming, music, art, and culture are defining what works and what doesn't in this new era. What we quickly discovered in Ristband is that the metaverse, like the internet, is at its most powerful when it creates a bridge between reality and the virtual world. Of course, virtual concerts will never replace physical ones. Shops in the metaverse will never replace brick and mortar stores. But in the same way that billions of people watch festivals and sport on TV, and online shopping now accounts for $4.9 trillion in sales worldwide, the idea of the digital world being an extension of reality is not only compelling, it's already here. After receiving a mega grant from Epic Games, we officially launched at the South by Southwest Music Festival, holding a hybrid event that took place simultaneously in the real world and on our platform. Over 2,500 people showed up for our sold-out real-world venue, and at the same time, thousands of people from around the world jumped into Ristband to experience a metaverse extension of the event via Mac, PC, and mobile. There is a huge shift in the way people consume and create content, in the same way the internet and later social media totally changed the way people communicate, how artists relate to their fans, and how consumers interact with brands. The new spatial internet offers a much more profound form of communication. In the 2D internet, audiences on average will engage with an image for around 1.5 seconds, and with a video, it's between 3 to 8 seconds. In Ristband, users stayed up to 45 minutes, interacting, socializing, and engaging with the content as well as one another. Once in an interactive, living, breathing world like Ristband, the relationship users have with a musician, a fashion brand, and each other runs much deeper than just joining a Facebook group or being on a Discord server. In the same way that people retain 95% of a message if it's in a video, compared to 10% if it's text, the Metaverse is an incredibly powerful way of creating memories, far more effective than bombarding people with passive, linear media. Creating content for the Metaverse is not only dramatically more cost-effective, but also has a life that goes far beyond a single event or campaign. A great example of this is Hazraf Hasdulul, one of the world's leading real-time filmmakers, which means he creates movies using the Unreal Engine. For his upcoming film, Rift, Has created locations, characters, props, recorded actors' movements and dialogue, and turned it into a full-length feature animation at a standard that would have taken companies like Pixar millions of dollars and teams of hundreds a decade ago. But this is where things get even more interesting. Halfway through production, Haz and his small team decided they also wanted to turn the film into a fully playable game. He was able to use the same assets, locations, and in some cases even the same code to create a brand new piece of content in a completely different industry, extending the world he'd created and the life of his IP far beyond the feature-length film he'd originally created them for. Even in the early days of Ristband, this is something we saw over and over again. Not only would artists share images and videos of events, but in some cases they would stream to hundreds of thousands of viewers, effectively creating thousands of hours of content across multiple platforms for free. Gaming culture is all about community, even at the creation stage. A game will come out and be built by the community, and in the cases of game mods, often go on to be multi-billion-dollar franchises in their own right.
TV is good for that, and same with ads. If the audience can become involved in the actual process of making the ad, then it's happy. It's like the old quiz shows. They were great TV because it gave the audience a role, something to do.
In a Metaverse platform, creators and brands are able to escape the walled garden of Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Today, reaching people with traditional media is becoming harder and harder, and for an entire generation who grew up with multiplayer gaming and mobile phones, who don't watch TV or use Facebook, a presence in the Metaverse is becoming the only way to reach a generation of digital natives who are much more comfortable with the idea of digital goods and virtual worlds. For many companies and creators, this will mean understanding a whole new set of dynamics. 40 years of the art of game design, the concept of living in virtual worlds, player agency, feedback loops, user experience. However, it's not certain that the Metaverse will be built solely by the gaming industry, in the same way that TV companies didn't invent Netflix and major labels didn't invent Spotify. So which platform? The simple answer would be to go to where the most monthly active users are. But on platforms like Roblox, 67% of users are under 16 and spend on average less than $16 a year. Then if you build something in Sandbox, it won't work in Decentraland. If you make it with voxels, it won't work in Roblox. Digital habits have not only changed, but are continuing to change. Roblox is almost 20 years old, so a kid who was 16 when the game was released is now in their early 30s. They have more disposable income, they have less time, and they're much more comfortable with the idea of digital goods and virtual worlds.
When you put a new medium into a play in a given population, all their sensory life shifts a bit. Sometimes shifts a lot. This changes their outlook, their attitudes, changes their feelings about studies, about school, about politics.
Fortunately, with tools such as Unreal Engine, games and experiences are becoming more interoperable. In Ristband, for instance, we can use an asset created for a film and host it as a game on our platform, or the model of a car used in a commercial can be brought in without needing to be rebuilt. There are also amazing companies like AdMix working to guide brands towards platforms. Empty world syndrome and ugly world syndrome are both huge problems, and one of the reasons that the number of people actually using the new Metaverse platforms is so low. You arrive there and there's nothing to do, and visually some platforms look the way games looked 20 years ago. One solution for this we found was to hold events that had a specific time, a specific start and an end, to make sure there was always high quality content to consume. Another was using technology such as pixel streaming, allowing a AAA gaming experience running in the cloud to be accessed by anyone with a mobile phone or an internet browser. It's less about expensive one-off moments and more about creating profound ongoing connections with the community, spreading that spend across a continued campaign, finding ways to experiment and learn rather than gambling on one activation and then abandoning it. Once you've built a world, you have the opportunity to form much more meaningful interactions with your audience. Many of the companies we consult for are fashion brands, agencies, or artists and their teams, for whom the visual aesthetic and how they're represented in the Metaverse is hugely important. They don't want their brand or identity to appear in a goofy, low-poly kids game. So why is there such a lack of high-quality metaverse content? In the real world, there are millions of concerts, fashion shows, theatre productions that would benefit from being metaverse ready. We feel like this is a huge disconnect, and is why we're already working with festivals, venues, brands, and most importantly artists to help them run an event both in reality and the metaverse in real time. A lack of moderation tools often means these platforms can be toxic, unsafe places for children, and a lack of diversity often feels like the metaverse is already inheriting the worst parts of gaming culture. Anne McKinnon, Ristband's CEO, published this report on diversity in the metaverse, a useful guide for anyone seeking to understand what is a worryingly overlooked aspect of this emerging technology. Our advice to anyone wanting to enter this exciting new space or understand what happens next is to get in early and learn as much as possible from the creators, artists, and communities within it. Small activations and experiments are a much better way of exploring what's possible rather than expensive one-off events. The current state of the metaverse is, much like the early internet, chaotic, slow, often difficult to use, and built around technology which is several years away from fulfilling many of the optimistic promises that surround it.
The telephone is connected to the telephone network, and plug it into this box here and plug it in. The computer is asking me if I want to log on. I'm now waiting for the computer to answer me. It asks with a tone.
So it's a very simple connection to make.
Extremely simple.
However, like the web in the 90s, there is an unmistakable sense of change and excitement in the air, of a transformation that will forever alter our relationship with technology and each other. The next step in culture and tech will not take place on Web 2 or social media platforms. So it's up to us to build a metaverse that's fair, exciting, and above all, a safe place for society and future generations.
I don't think we've even seen the tip of the iceberg. It's going to crush our ideas of what mediums are all about.